Welcome to the online course Essentials of Youth Policy, organised by the partnership between the European Commission and the Council of Europe in the field of youth.
My name is Tomi Kiilakoski. I work as a senior researcher in the Finnish Youth Research Network. I have studied youth work and youth participation, youth extremism, also young people at school for 10 years now. And there are plenty of reasons for promoting participation. One of them is a simple fact that they are able to do better decisions when they actually know what the users or the clients or the young people themselves feel and what they think about. So we are able to base our actions on the true stuff, so to speak. And another one is developmental or pedagogical, if you want to call it that. So young people, participation doesn't happen by itself. So you have to learn how to participate from a young age until you're 20 or 30 or whatever. And if we promote participation in different levels of society, we are helping young people to develop as citizens or grow up as citizens, learning how to be citizens. And then there's a human rights issue as well. Participation is a human right, and young people are entitled to participate. So it's about respecting their rights. And the last point I would like to point out concerns democracy. So our societies, our European societies are based on democracy. And in democracy we need active citizens. And if we promote participation, we are making room for young people to be active. So in a sense we are also improving our democracy while doing so. I think that if you want to have successful participation processes, you need to have different goals. So you need these long-term goals, but you also need to have short-term goals, so you can actually show young people that they did make an impact. And it's also about the quality of the interaction, quality of a dialogue between adults and young people. So you are showing them that what they did and what they said and what they thought, it actually meant something, and we took that into account. So it's sort of making visible the impact of young people. And that tends to be forgotten in many of the processes. Young people's opinions and thoughts and other forms of expression were taken into account, but we forgot to tell young people that and put that into documents whenever we are deciding something. It doesn't cost much to actually say that we listen to young people this way and young people participated in this way. For many of the young people, of course, it's a question about making an impact to the world and to the environment they face in their daily life. So basically people are interested in where they live and what they do and what kind of services they are offered. So that certainly is an important factor for them. And then of course it's a matter of recognition as well. If you're treated as a citizen, if you're listened to, if your opinions really matter, then you can feel that people recognize you as something, as a citizen, as a person who should be listened to, and that recognition might be important. But I would like to add that it's not a simple question. It's not a question of choosing one method and when going step by step through that method. But one should be really conscious about who is able to participate when they are using that method. And I myself always emphasize that we need multi-method approaches so that we can take in as many young people as possible from as many backgrounds as possible. So what I've been interested about is a participatory budgeting, which basically means that you are given young people are given the power to actually decide what they do with the money that is allocated to the youth services. So they are able to discuss where the money should be spent, and at the same time they learned how these processes work, how administration work, what costs a certain sum, and what can we do with a certain sum of money. Also, what I've been interested about is usually when we are talking about participation, we look at the conventions on the rights of a child, which states that the children, people under 18, should be able to have a say they should be listened to, and their opinions should be respected. And we tend to think of opinions as something that is verbalized. It's about words and concepts. But opinions can be expressed also by drawing or making a video. And I think lately there have been wonderful examples of actually letting young people to use youth cultural ways of expressing themselves. And this way, also those young people that are not so good with words, who have troubles verbalizing themselves, can also contribute. And some of those processes, they take a long time and they are quite demanding, and some are really short-term processes, but they still can be pretty productive. To cite one example, city of Lahti in Finland uses a map. Whenever they meet families and young people and children, they ask the clients to take a pin and put a red pin to the places they find dangerous or unsafe, and a green pin to the places which they find, nice. So whenever they are doing urban planning, they already know what are the dangerous places and what are the places people really like. So the idea is not to get rid of the nice places and maybe do something about unsafe places. Well, I think one of the key things concerns the inclusion in participation. So are all of the young people really able to participate? I'm thinking now in a Finnish context about, for example, about disabled young people. Is the place accessible? Those young people that live in the agricultural areas, the non-urban youth, the rural youth, as some people call them, and also migrant youth who don't speak Finnish or Swedish, our official languages, properly. So it's a question about how many people can actually have an influence. And another important thing is how far that influence really goes. So does it go deeply into the processes, or is it just being consulted instead of making a real impact? One of my favorite quotes on this subject is one by Mary John. She's a sociologist of childhood, and she said that participation without influence is a mere window dressing, and she's right on the money. That is exactly how it is. And also, third point would be about having many methods, many ways of making an impact, many ways of being the democratic citizen, not only representational democracy, but also direct democracy. And I think the one thing we need to discuss as European societies is what type of political action we are able to tolerate. Demonstrations, so-called counter-democracy, boycotts, that sort of activism. Do we see that as participation, or do we see that as something that is actually, on a way of participation?
We hope this video contributed to your learning about youth policy.